Hello, this is the video for Chapter 1, Lesson 2 in Algebra 1. All right, today we are going to take a look at order of operations. Again, this is a lesson that should be a review for you. You should have done this in grade school. You probably did it in Algebra 1 or pre-algebra. And this is definitely a topic that is a review for you. However, there's a few other concepts that we're going to go over. So let's review exponents. We kind of touched on it yesterday in our previous lesson. But what is an exponent? Okay. It's a tiny little number that goes on the top right corner of a number. So this 4 is the exponent. Okay. How do we read this? This is 3 to the power of 4. What do we call the big number? This is called the base. So we have a base of 3 here to the 4th power. And what does this mean? This means 3 is being multiplied by itself 4 times. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Don't think that's 3 times 4. It's not. It's 3 times itself 4 times. So this exponent tells us how many times the base is being multiplied by itself. Let's go to our notes for today. This should be available on for you to download on your documents tab or resource tab on RenWeb. And I'm gonna use these notes where it's kind of like a fill in the blank to guide us through the lesson. Let's change the color here. Okay, so a power, what we just talked about, a power is used to show repeated multiplication. Repeated multiplication. The base, which we just talked about, the base is the number being multiplied. Exponent is the number that shows how many times to multiply the base. Okay. When it comes to order of operations, we've got parentheses first. Then we have exponents. Then we have multiplication or division. I'm going to say divide, or multiply or divide for the sake of what we're going to write next. And then addition and subtraction. Okay, what is a parentheses? Any operations inside grouping symbols. So the grouping symbols, what parentheses you're working through, whatever is inside your parentheses, that's going to come first. Then we have exponents, which we have to, what do we have to do when we see exponents? You have to simplify the power. So you have to actually work that out. If it's 3 to the 2nd power, you would work that out and write it as 9 instead of leaving it as 3 to the 2nd power. You don't want to keep it with the power. You want to write it as that number after you've simplified it. Multiplying or dividing come in the same order, but you just look at it from left to right. So if multiplication is to the left, do that first. If the division is to the left, do that first. You're just working from left to right. Same thing as add and subtract, adding and subtracting left to right. That's the order that you're going to go in. How do we remember all this? I don't know if any of you guys remember this from before, but how to remember the order of operations? PEMDAS. These letters stand for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Okay, this should be a review for you. Coming down, how to remember PEMDAS, we just wrote that. Now we're simplifying the powers. So we did this early on. 3 to the 4th power is just 3 times itself. 4 times. To work this out, you could plug in your calculator, or you could actually work it out. And 3 to the 4th power, I might have to get my calculator out. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 times 3 is 81. So 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is 81. There's a power button on your calculator that you can use. Hopefully you're not writing 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 multiple times. Use the power button. It's going to make your life easier. 2/3 to the 3rd power, what that's doing is we're multiplying 2/3 3 times, which means everything up here, we're going to multiply 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So it's 8 up top. And we're going to also multiply everything on the bottom. 3 times 3 times 3. And that is 27. So 2/3 to the 3rd power is 8 27ths. That's how you do powers when there's a fraction. You have to power. Imagine this parentheses. You're powering everything on the top and bottom of the fraction bar to get your final answer. Okay. Next, let's take a look at order of operations. What should we do here? So we're going to think through our PEMDAS. First, parentheses. I don't see parentheses here, so I'm going to do my exponents because that's what comes next, which means I'm going to simplify that to 4 times itself, 2 times. 4 times 4 is 16. Then I'm going to bring everything else down. Guys, show your work. Don't take a shortcut and just, not bring any of this stuff down. I will not give you all the points if this was a test or quiz if you don't bring all the work down as well. Now I have 5 times 7 minus 16 divided by 2. Now, when we have multiplication division, we're just going to go left to right. So this multiplication's on the left side, we're going to do that first. So 35 minus 16 divided by 2. Now, between subtraction and division, what comes first with your PEMDAS? Division comes before subtraction. So we have to simplify that first. 35, bring that subtraction down, minus 8. And if I had room, I would probably just write my answer down here, but I need to save that space. So 35 minus 8 is 27, and that is your answer, okay? Here, B, we only have 2 operations. Division comes before subtraction. So 25 divided by 5 is 5. 12 minus 5 is 7. That's your answer there. Then over here, we've got 2 expressions separated by your fraction bar. You can actually do each part of what's on the top and what's on the bottom of the fraction bar at the same time. You can almost like treat them as separate problems and just work them out at the same time and then bring them into your fraction bar. On the top, we see a exponent. So we probably want to work that out. 3 to the 4th power is 81. We just worked that out earlier over here. And then we have 7 minus 2. You could leave it as 7 minus 2, or you could just work that out because eventually you're going to have to look at these two as their own parts and then divide them anyway. So 7 minus 2 is 5. 81 plus 4, 4 plus 81 is 85. So now you have 85 divided by 5 or over 5. This can be seen as a fraction. It can also be seen as a division symbol. 85 divided by 5 is 17, and that's your answer. Keynote here, the fraction bar acts as a grouping symbol. Simplify before you divide. So we did that. We have to simplify everything down to just one term or one number before we divide. We could also look at this as 4 plus 3 to the 4th power divided by parentheses 7 minus 2. That's another way of looking at it. We rarely write problems like that when we have division. We usually use the fraction bar. So this is going to be the most common way you see division being written. But if we were to look at it writing from left to right without the fraction bar, what's happened is that what's on the top, the numerator and denominator, on the top and bottom of the fraction bar should be grouped with parentheses, and then those are being divided. All right, let's keep going. I don't think there's very much left for us except for these two problems, evaluating algebraic expressions. So what happens when we do know what the variables represent? We've got to plug them into our expression and then solve it. And so we're going to be able to actually solve the problem and get one final answer. Okay, so b is 4, which means we're going to replace b with 4 minus a to the second power. A is 3, a to the second power. Remember, powers always come first. So let's write in terms of our order of operations. This would be 9. And then we would now do our multiplication. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 minus 9 is 3. And that's our answer here. Over here, we need to plug in our variables, what they represent. 2 times 4 to the second power minus 7 times a, which is 3. Now I'm going to do my exponents first. I'm going to, when I simplify this, this is 4 to the second power is 16. I'm going to put a multiplication symbol here, because if I don't put that multiplication symbol, I'm going to think this is 216. That would be a problem, because what's happening between the 2 and the 16? They're being multiplied. This parentheses means what's happening here is they're being multiplied. 7 times 3 is 21. Now, multiplication comes first. 32 minus 21. And the answer is 11. And there we go. I want to do one more problem that has a bunch of parentheses. And you can write this in your notes as you're following along with me. But it looks like this. 6 times 32 minus parentheses 2 plus 3 to the second power, close your parentheses. So here we go. What happens when we have multiple parentheses? Do the inside, the most inside first. Parentheses come first, which means I need to simplify this to become 5. And then I'm going to bring everything else down and keep those parentheses. You could keep the brackets if you want to, but I'm just going to rewrite them as parentheses because I've gotten rid of one set of parentheses. I only have one set left. Now I'm going to do my exponent. So 32 minus 25, parentheses 6. Now, what does this parentheses mean? It means whatever is being subtracted here, the difference of whatever this is being multiplied by 6. Okay, so 32 minus 25 is 7. And then we're going to bring the 6 down. 6 times 7 is 42. So the final answer should be 42. So that's just a bonus problem to explain those parentheses. But that's basically what this lesson is over. And so remember PEMDAS, order of operations. Remember the purpose of exponents and what they signify. Remember the fraction bar and how that separates your two expressions where you can group them separately. All right, that's all for today. Thank you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.